Did you watch Cup of Tea? I am still reeling from the fact that some of you seem to like barbecue sauce on a pizza instead of tomato sauce. Gio put a poll up. 55% of you like barbecue sauce, which puts me, as a tomato sauce enthusiast, in the minority. Why would you have... I mean, what is next? Ketchup? Branston pickle? Piccalilli? Mayonnaise? It's just all wrong. Anyway, that's how you start off by getting some thumbs down on the video, by the way. Start slagging off what everybody's eating. However, we're not here to talk about my eating habits. We're here to talk about today a couple of transfer links, if you like. The first one is Ryan Fraser. The second one is Pablo Formals. Now, Ryan Fraser, let's just deal with that straight away. Get it out of the way. Basically, Ryan Fraser has been... Well, Bournemouth would consider him to be a bit of a naughty boy. He's been running down his contract with the expectation, I think, that Liverpool were going to come in and make a bid for him. Really good player, by the way. If you look at how he played for Bournemouth on the left, not this season that hasn't quite finished yet, but the one before that did finish. They had Brooks on the right, didn't they? Fraser was really, really good on the left. He turned down a contract extension and he decided to run his contract down. I think he thought a pre-contract agreement was going to come from Liverpool, which it may well have done, although I don't know. It's a strange one. I mean, they've got some damn fine players, Liverpool, and I would even though Fraser is a good player, I'm not sure he's quite European champion standard, if you get what I mean. But anyway, for one reason or another, that offer has not manifested itself. So he was linked with us, amongst others. And it has now been categorically stated, may I tell you now, that Bournemouth's Ryan Fraser will snub a number of clubs interested in him, including West Ham, to join Spurs this summer as a free agent. It's from the Daily Mirror, but I would take any newspaper with a pinch of salt at the moment. But these are the stories that we got to discuss. Apparently we scouted him under Pellegrini. Not that you'd really need to scout him. You don't need to scout people in the Premier League. You know all about them. But when I heard we were linked before the world went to crap, basically, I sort of believed it. I thought, yeah, David Moyes, I could see this being the case. He plays in a position that Felipe Anderson plays, and thought, yeah, okay, you know, Anderson got injured. Moyes had deployed Anderson as number 10 a couple of times. And even when Anderson had come back, if you remember, Fornals was playing on the left. I say if you remember, it seems like an age ago when West Ham played football. Fornals, as we're going to discuss in a minute, of course, there's interest from Napoli for him. Fornals was playing on the left, but not really a left winger. So I sort of got it. I thought, yeah, okay, Ryan Fraser coming in, that's something that I could see happening. Anyway, it looks like he's going to go to Spurs, and I think it probably does show Spurs' financial situation for what it is, because I don't think they were in for him before. And certainly the Spurs model was never to go out and buy, you know, free signings and cut their cloth to that sort of extent. But needs must. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. £1 billion stadium. A lot saddled with a lot of debt. No NFL, which was meant to prop that up. They even designed that stadium so as they could have all these massive benches to have the NFL teams in, because the defense is on or the offense is on, and they swap over in NFL. So that's a massive income. I think they were expecting an extra £10 or £15 million a year just from the agreement with the NFL for the stadium. So clearly Tottenham's targets are going to be slightly different from what they were. So all of a sudden, it's Ryan Fraser rather than whoever they might have wanted to buy for 50 million. They're going to have to take the free transfer. Not a huge loss for West Ham, I have to say. I think a position that we are rich in. I don't mean monetarily. I mean in terms of number of players that can play in that position. It's why I wouldn't be too concerned about losing Felipe Anderson, because I do think Diangana has had a hell of a start to his career, both at West Ham and then latterly at West Bromwich Albion. Played really, really well there. And also I do rate Nathan Holland highly, as you all know. So I think we're all right. I think we're okay. Moyes has also shown that he can play Fornals there. Now, we get to Fornals. let's just say, okay, it's rumoured that Napoli are interested in him. Big club, good club, some really good players, but we bought him for around 24 million, I believe, depending on which paper you read. He started slow. Well, he is slow, which I thought was gonna be a hindrance for him in the Premier League. But he seems to have brought his other qualities have made up for his lack of outright pace. He reads the game really well. He's got good technique. He drifts into positions. I mean, he has scored some goals. He gets into positions, he's made some assists, scored some goals, and has become a bit of a crowd favourite because we do love a trier. Now, I've told the story before. I'll tell it again. Oxford game, we lose 4-0. Obviously, it was completely unexpected, and you know, the fans are not happy. Most players walk down the tunnel. A few players sort of meekly clap from the halfway line, but don't want to get near to the fans. The only player that came near to the fans, Pablo Formals. Not only did he come near, he actually walked over, gave his shirt to somebody, and he was saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And I think that shows a lot of character. You're always looking for insights into players' characters. I think we've seen it a little bit as well with the donations he's made to his charity work with the coronavirus in his home country of Spain. But at this point, I thought it showed a lot of character for him to come over to fans who weren't happy, and he was palms up. He was very apologetic. He gave the shirt to a kid, and he said sorry. And there was a few people down the front, and they went, "All right, mate, no worries, thanks for coming over." And he shook a few hands with a few fans. And I thought that might have been a bit of an eye-opener to him. And a bit of an eye-opener, really, to a lot of the players there to say, you know what, we might be unhappy with going out the cup, but we're not monsters. You know, we're not going to be unpleasant. And I thought it showed a lot about him, and I think maybe he learnt a lot about us as fans. So with that in mind, bearing in mind he doesn't seem to complain. I mean, Chicharito was a great player, for instance. Whenever Chicharito wasn't playing in a position that he wanted to play or would be brought off, he would shake his head. It was quite obvious he'd make a public... he was demonstrative, let's say, and he made it known that he wasn't very happy. I think, as I say, we love a trier. I don't think there's any attitude for him. From him, I don't think if he is unhappy at not being selected or taken off, he doesn't display it. There were certain stats where he had run more than any other midfielder and so on and so forth. Can't remember him exactly. But he puts in a shift. He's got some quality and he can pass the football. I think also, bearing in mind with Lanzini retreating into his shell, which we saw and was a shame, with maybe Jack Wilshere just not being fit, not being able to operate for West Ham. I think the value of Fornals became greater and greater. His value became more than some of his parts, maybe just slightly insulting, but his value to the club increased. Which leads us back onto the story of Napoli. So my initial instinct was to dismiss it. No, Moyes likes him, we as fans like him. Moyes' mantra, if you don't run, you don't play. Well, he runs. They're going to be skint in Italy. Everyone's going to be skint in Italy as much as anyone else. I think that the Italian and Spanish league can take a massive hit. You've got to remember they don't have the huge TV deals that we have. And for a lot of these clubs, they really make up a lot of their money in Europe because the Champions League, as you progress through each stage, knockout stage, you get more and more money. Well, of course, there's no more money that's been earned in the Champions League because the season's been stopped in Europe as well. So I thought initially, can Napoli afford Pablo Formals? No, there's absolutely no way. But then I read a story, and the story is about Koulibaly, which I hope I've pronounced correctly, but a good player. Of course, Newcastle were due to be buying him when they get taken over, because they got taken over. Was it 5.5 weeks ago, didn't they? So obviously they're due to be buying him when that deal eventually goes through. But the latest link is that Liverpool are interested. Well, Liverpool certainly do have the funds. And if Liverpool are going to buy him for the estimated 50, 60 million, then I'd suggest Napoli are no longer skint. And then you've got to think, do Napoli have anybody that we might be interested in? Now, they've got some good players. They've got some really good players at Napoli. And I think one of them is called Zielinski, really good player. Would we be able to get him? Would he be interested in coming to us? I would think not, but we could probably offer him something on his wages. But there was another player. Where's he gone? You have to excuse me. I'm just trying to click through this here. There was indeed another player that we had been linked to, and it was Lobotka. So, while I instantly dismissed it, Pablo Formals going, and Napoli armed with 60 million, and a couple of players that we want, would I put my wages on the fact that Fornals will still be here after the next transfer window? I hope he is, but I'm not so sure.